folks. Mike Neumeier here, with Game Plan for Retirement over here in Owings Mills. And I'm excited today because I have some beautiful news to share with you. If you're getting ready for retirement, we're going to talk about investments today, but I got to jump ahead into what I want to tell you about because this is something that I have for you. If you really want some safe income in retirement, where you know it's going to be there every month for the rest of your life and the rest of your spouse's life, huh? How about that? Let's pretend that you're 70 years old, just for the sake of conversation. We're going to get you 8.15%. So on $100,000, if we just say 8%, you got $8,000 a year until you're gone, until you and your spouse are gone. $8,000 on the 100,000. So that's 8%. 8%. Where can you get 8% today? And anyway, this is slightly over 8, but where can you get 8% today on anything? Go buy the best CD you can put money into today. You can get about 4%, 4.5% maybe. And that rate's going down. So then when you go to renew it, of course, it's not going to be the same. It's going to be lower. So that's not any good. Where are you going to get 8% a year? You're not even going to get it in the stock market year after year after year. And if you put money in the stock market, it'll go down sometimes. And if you're taking the same money out all the time, that means you're taking principal out when the market goes down. Oh, you think the market's never going to go down? It's going to go down. We go through the sequence of returns, we call it in the business. It's never going to stay the same. It continually goes up and down. And how long are you going to live? Are you going to live through the down times and then here comes the better times? But you're still not going to make up for what you lost in that down time. Okay, so I'm going to get you 8% if you're 70 years old, 8.15% for lifetime. Now, what if you're 65 and you're just retiring? At 65, I'm going to get you slightly less, 7.53%. Save 7.5% on 100,000. $7,500, isn't it? You can see why I'm excited. I've got people coming in grabbing this thing all the time. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to get really good lifetime income. As far as safe money is concerned, there's people that say, oh, I'm going to keep my money in my 401k, which is in mutual funds, okay? Or I'm going to put my money in a variable annuity, which is a ripoff because there's fees inside that you never believe. There's no fees in these things. You're going to pay 1% a year for a lifetime income rider. But in spite of that, the percentages I gave you are beyond that. So in other words, you're still going to get 7.5 or 8% on your money each year for the rest of your life, okay? So those are the kind of things I want you to think about before I get into other investments. There's lots of other investments, but I don't know anything that comes close to this. Oh, you might tell me you're going to get a bond and the bond's going to return more than that. Yeah, it's going to return maybe for a period of time. And then when you go to renew it, it may be way down. It's the same as the market. This is you can count on this all the time. And if you pass, your spouse will get it. And one of you is probably pretty good at money. And the one that is not so good at money is not going to have a great time dealing with this if you're gone. So the point is, this is the thing to look at, and I want to talk to you about it. I want you to call me. I want you to come in. The number here is 410-902-0464. We're on the radio. WTTR, coming out of Westminster, okay? And that's on every Saturday morning. You're listening to it now at 9:30 in the morning on Saturday. So there you are. That's available to you. You can go on our website, Game Plan for Retirement. We have all the radio shows that we've done are there. You can listen to them again if you want to. You can learn all about us by going on the website. And the phone number is there, the contact information. Don't wait. We advertise this on placemats and diners. I've got people calling me from there. We do mailings. We get calls from there. This is a very popular product. You can call it a personal pension. It operates like a pension. You're going to get this money continually for the rest of your life. And your spouse is going to get it if you're gone. Don't wait. Call me. Call me today. 410-902-0464. I'm waiting for your call. Okay, let me talk about some other investments that you would need to know about. Well, first of all, before you go further, That money that we're talking about stays tax deferred until you actually take income. That's a big deal. It's going to stay tax deferred. Whether it's an IRA or not an IRA, it's always going to stay tax deferred. So the answer is, this is a great combination of benefits that are available to you right now. Okay, so that's the situation. And then we talk about loaning money versus owning investments. So loaning money is buying bonds and so forth. And then, whether or owning investments means money in the market, et cetera, or what we're talking about here, where you own a pension. So those are the two categories as far as investment. These are my notes from the seminars that I put on, and it includes, of course, investments. That's what we're talking about today. And I'll finish by reminding you of what we talked about also. But I want you to keep in mind that really good private pension that we have to offer today. And these things don't last. This could be gone in a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months. We never know. They tell us at the last minute. I'm very excited about this. I haven't had it with me that long. We've worked with the company for a long time. But they came up with this, and now we've got it, and we're ready to get it to you. Okay, so let's talk about other investments. And let me say this, no matter what you put your money in, you've got to have cash reserves. Now that's the money market accounts at the bank. That's the savings accounts, the cash reserves. You have to have enough money to deal with emergencies, huh? And you know what emergencies cost. And incidentally, in retirement, emergencies are there. And if you think it's going to be cheaper in retirement, I got news for you. What I understand from people that have retired, all the people I've worked with, their expenses are typically greater in retirement than they are before retirement. So keep that in mind for lots of different reasons, huh? But you have to have cash flow enough to deal with most of what's going to go on. And then you have to have reserves, for the emergencies that come along. Refrigerator breaks, something breaks down. You've got a roof that has to be removed and replaced. And, or you can buy this household expense, insurance, which is very high. And that most people don't do that. They just don't do it. And then you've got to get past a minimum in order to take advantage of it. Okay, so money market accounts, money market mutual funds. I will tell you that I don't think that money market mutual funds are suitable for people in retirement because there's risk in those and there's fees in those. You're better off in just the money market accounts. You go to the bank, open a money market account, and they will have decent rates, sometimes even better than CDs. For what reason I cannot give you. Incidentally, rates on CDs are set by the bank looking at various reasons that they have established. Not every bank is the same. And that's why CD rates are different. So you have to shop. You got to shop around. And I could tell you a couple of good banks, if you're asking me, that I know have pretty good rates. Okay, and they have historically had good rates. They have their own reasons for doing it. They have their own ways for setting it. But so they're not all the same. You can shop around and find that out pretty fast. But the ones that typically are higher, they're typically higher. So, that's worth understanding and knowing. Okay, so those are a couple of ideas. What about bonds? What's the risk in bonds? Or how do bonds work? Okay, so the higher the price of the bond, the lower the rate is, or the lower the yield is. How does that possibly be the truth? Because the rate is set at the very beginning in dollars. Let us say you have a bond that sells for $100, and they're going to give you $5. That's 5%. They're going to give you $5 on that as a dividend. Now watch this. What if the price of the bond, that's 5%. What if the price of the bond goes down from $100 to say $50? It's not going to go that far. Well, what if it did? Now that 5% is 10%. Because the $5 is 10% of $50. You see? So the yield is higher in that instance. Okay? And the opposite is true. If the price of the bond goes up from 100 to 150, I'm using easier numbers. They wouldn't do that much. But just to use easy numbers, then the return is only 2.5%. So that's the way it works. So it depends on when you buy the bond. what the price is and what the yield is at the time, and then whether you're going to keep it to maturity or you're going to sell it when the price goes up. Now most people in retirement are not tracking this kind of thing. Okay, don't want to have to watch these kind of things. If you're working with a broker, well, maybe they will, maybe they won't. But the point is that that's the way bonds work. And if you want the risk involved, well, that's the risk involved. Okay, so that's enough about bonds to understand. And so what? Inside a mutual fund, you have a series of investments, okay, in the mutual fund itself. And there's a series of fees. And that's the way it works. Those mutual funds can increase in value or they can decrease. And when you buy them, you put an order in, and the order doesn't actually take place until after the market closes. Okay? That's the way that works. And if you sell them, it's the same thing. So you can sell them during the day, but it doesn't settle until after 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the market closes. So that's the way that works. Now, we also have other kinds of products. We have ETFs, which are basically like mutual funds, but they are bought and sold during the market time from 9:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay? So there's all kinds of different ones. So you can be invested in all kinds of technology and various healthcare. Go down the list. What sectors, and you can buy ETFs that are catering or including only that sector. So that's the way that works. And they buy or sold like stocks during 9:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, excluding holidays and so forth and so on. So those are two categories. I'm just giving you the headline ideas because we haven't got enough really to go. I'll be happy to go through all of this in great detail. There's a lot more when I do the seminars. I'm reading from the seminar book, but there's a lot more detail included in the seminar. All right, so that's a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. And what else? You can buy REITs. What are REITs? Real estate investment trusts. Real estate investment trusts, and they have some that are in the market that you can buy. You can even buy mutual funds that are real estate. You can buy ETFs that are real estate, and you can buy outside the market REITs. Okay, they're not in the market, but they go up and down in value. So those are all different categories of investments of stocks, and stocks of course are there. Stocks are actually offered for individual companies, obviously, and they go up and down every day in the market. Very seldom does the stock stay at the same price, every day. Very unusual. The thinly traded ones, that's a situation where a company stock is typically owned by the insiders. Well, that price doesn't change every day because they're not selling and maybe they're not buying, okay, for whatever reasons. So basically, that will stay pretty much the same. And it really will change when one of those big insiders sells stock or on the other hand, buys stock. But that's the unusual situation. Typically, on a day-to-day basis, they're not going to change. I can think of a number of companies like that. They're almost privately owned because most of the stock is held by the top executives. So those are other ideas about stock. Okay, are stocks a good idea? Yeah, they're a good idea when you're young. Just like mutual funds are a good idea when you're young because you're accumulating money. You're not taking the money out. Now, are they good in retirement? Well, if you want to take 10% of your money in retirement money and play a little bit in the market, if you can afford to lose the 10%, that's the first thing you ask yourself. It's like gambling. Oh, I've had people say, it's not gambling, but it's like gambling because you could lose the money, right? You can lose the money. And people will say, yeah, but I can only lose the money if I sell it. Okay, you only lose the money if you sell it. That's true. Okay, but you may be needing money and you may sell it when it's down. So keep in mind that there's a lot of variables involved in the market and decisions have to be made. So yeah, I know people that are playing a little bit in the market and buying and selling, and they're working with Schwab or somebody else. But that should be a small part of your overall, investing for retirement. In retirement, you need to have the constant income. You need to know what you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and how much you're going to get. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you? I talked about stocks, indexes. You can buy an index. You can buy the S&P index. You can buy an index the way you buy stock, okay, or an ETF or a mutual fund. You can buy indexes. So you can buy the S&P 500. You can buy the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the NASDAQ. There's others. You can buy the Russell, which is the small cap. You can buy Russell, small cap. So if you're studying the market on a regular basis, you get some ideas. If you're watching the business shows on television, you'll get some ideas. But again, the market is not a suitable place for a lot of folks in retirement. And it can be a suitable place for some people that are willing to watch it a lot, and they're not going to put any more into the market than they can afford to lose. That's the way. And incidentally, I know that about gamblers. They'll go out and gamble, and they say, "No, this is how much I'm going to gamble. If I lose it, I'm gone." And that's what they do. That's sort of like a professional gambler. But the point is, yes, this is not gambling, and I've been told that so many times. But the reactions can be the same. If you lose money, you may not be happy with that. In fact, you'll be less happy than you would if you lost money when you're gambling. Gambler expects to lose money. You can expect to lose money in the market. You have to expect it. You have to be willing to deal with that. You have to understand that. This is not just an absolute winning proposition. Okay. So those are some ideas about investing in the market and investing in general. I want to mention stock splits. So stock splits, what does that mean? Well, I can remember back a while ago when a particular stock got to $1,000, and they split it 10-1. What did that mean? That the 1,000 went to $100 a share. Okay, why do they do that? They want to encourage people to buy more. They want to bring people in to buy that weren't buying it before. So they dropped they basically split it 10-1. Now the people that had the stock, that had 10 shares, now have 100 shares. So they're not losing anything. And as the newcomers come in to buy the stock at the $100, all of a sudden it goes up, and the people that had the stock before the split are going to benefit. So that's the way that works. And then options. I don't even want to talk about options because people lose so much money in options unless they really learn how to deal with options. And there you're talking about futures and so forth and so on. And so those are the things. What about dividends? There's a lot of stocks that pay dividends, and some people buy them for the purpose of living on them. Now those people are living in the market, and they accumulate dividend stocks, which are relatively conservative. Now, why are dividend stocks conservative? Because basically people keep them for the dividend. So they don't fluctuate a great deal, okay? The overall dividend is the issue. How much the overall dividends amount to as a percentage? And that varies tremendously. But again, unless you're really living in the market, it's not a great idea. Okay, it's not a great idea. On the mutual funds, we talked about those a little bit. What about professional money management? So you take 100,000 or more, and you have a money manager, working with a broker that's managing the money, and there's a lot of those around. And what do? They charge you typically for 100,000. They charge you 1%. Could be more, but let's say it's 1%. I know of people that put $1 million in. They're paying $10,000 a year for the money manager. Now they're good if the manager's good. And if the market doesn't take a great downturn. Remember the NASDAQ went down in 2000. It took 15 years for it to come back. 15 years. So if the manager was dealing with a lot of technology in the NASDAQ, no manager did that well. Okay? So those are things to keep in mind. Now, if the market's going up, the manager looks like a genius. But it still depends on the market. And nobody can really time the market. I guarantee you, when that market went down in 2000 and 2000, also in 7 and 8 and 9, nobody could time it. We talk about the black swans. Black swans are when something happens you never anticipated. So you've got always have that risk. And what if it goes down, and that's the time you need the money? And it doesn't come back for a long time. And that's when you have to take money. You're reducing your principal. I mentioned that before. Okay, so those are some ideas about investing that I wanted to share with you. I want to go back now. So I've told you about our particular offering, okay, where you can get a great percentage for the money you put in with 401k or wherever the money comes from. Okay, I told you all about that, and then I told you about a series of kinds of investments, and I hope that helped you. Of course, the safe money is the best place to be. I used to sell all the other things for people in retirement. I learned the hard way that the best thing for people in retirement is safe money so they can count on it. It doesn't go away. They don't lose money. They're always going to have that income. Think about where your income is going to come from. You got Social Security. You may have a pension already with somebody. Okay. You may have some rental property that you're getting income from. There's a various series of things that you may be getting income from. And then, of course, you've got the old 401k, etc., that we can take and we can get you the safe income for life. So those are the things that I want to give you another example. Let's say you're 60 years old. On $100,000, you're still going to, and it doesn't have to be 100. I'm just using that number. But at 60 years old, okay, you're going to get 6.8%. That's almost 7%. So on 100,000, you're getting $6,800 a year. Go get 6.8 anywhere. You're not going to find it. And at 60 years old, you could get that. You could start your income immediately. As long as you're 60 years old or older, you can start the income immediately. We can put it into, if it's IRA money, if it's 401k money, we can put it into an IRA account at your bank. And you won't pay taxes on anything until you start taking the income. So that's very important. It grows tax deferred. If it's not an IRA, it doesn't make any difference. When that goes into this product, it grows tax deferred. It stays tax deferred until you take that money out of it. We put it in your bank account, and you actually spend it. Now you're actually paying taxes on it. So these are ideas for you, and I hope all of these ideas turn out to be of value to you. Okay, and that's what we wanted to talk about this week. Now next week we're going to talk about another topic. Let me see what is next in my seminar, because I'm basically giving you my seminar information as I present it. Okay, so next week we're going to talk about risk management and asset protection. How do you protect it? Well, you know how to do it with our products, because we're going to keep it all safe. But we're going to talk about risk, and we're going to talk about many different kinds of risk. And I'll just give you an overview. There's risk in disability income and disability insurance. There's risk in health insurance. That's not going to stay costing the same thing. There's risk in Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare changes every year. So does Medicaid. There's risk in long-term care insurance, and it's not available for everybody. We're going to talk about all that. And then what about life insurance? What are the risks in life insurance? Is it enough? When is it going to end? Is it going to be in the right kind of life? So we're going to talk about at least those risks and some others. So that's next week. And I'll really look forward to seeing you folks. And remember, if I can help you, get on the telephone now. Call me. Make an appointment. I'd love to see you. 410-902-0464. Was great being with you. Look forward to next week. Hey, folks, again, so I don't forget this, the most important thing in getting ready for retirement is planning. So many folks will come to me and they really haven't planned much. They know what they're going to get in Social Security. They know they're maybe going to get a pension and so forth. They've got that in mind. They'll say, well, I'm going to have our house paid off and so forth. But they really haven't done the numbers on any of those things. That's very common, very common. And they haven't looked at the other things that really make up the whole plan. So what I do is I ask a lot of questions, and I help them to fill out what a plan really is, so that when they make decisions on investments, make decisions on their life, make decisions on downsizing or moving or whatever they're going to do with their family, any plans to be closer to the family, whatever, that they've looked at a number of things in helping them make the decision. Otherwise, sometimes folks make decisions on impulse and so forth, and that can trigger the beginning of real problems. So what I try to do is to help them see the whole picture, okay, before they make a decision. And the other thing I already mentioned is that the money for emergencies. That's the other thing that people are not that careful about. There's pretty good kinds of formulas to determine how much money you ought to have in reserve. And when you come to see me, I'll help you, figure that out based on your circumstances. Sometimes I have single people in certain situations, certain amount of reserves based on their situation. Other married couples, there may be health problems and so forth. Different circumstances are going to determine. So we need to think about those kinds of things. And so I just want to mention those two before I let you go completely. And I'll look forward to next week, and we'll talk about risk in general. And God bless you, and I hope you have a great week. And I'll look forward to seeing you.